video, a diplomatic scandal, and unprecedented comments from Arab leaders about Israel's right to exist and right to defend itself. Prime Minister Netanyahu's office last night leaked a video in which the foreign ministers of 3 Arab countries can be seen harshly attacking Iran and defending Israel's right to defend itself through military strikes. This was from the opening gala at the Warsaw Conference on Middle East Security, which just wrapped up. This event was closed to the press, but someone took a video, and it is shocking stuff. You have the foreign ministers of Bahrain and Saudi Arabia saying on stage in front of international diplomats it'd be easier to build lasting peace between Israel and the Palestinians if it wasn't for Iran's destabilizing behavior. But perhaps most newsworthy is the comment from the foreign minister of the UAE, which said Israel was justified in attacking Iranian targets in Syria. Less than 30 minutes after reporters published that leaked clip, Prime Minister Netanyahu removed it from his YouTube channel. With me now in studio is Avi Pazner. Avi is a longtime Israeli diplomat, former Israeli ambassador to many places, including Italy and France and elsewhere. Avi, I want to ask about that video. It is incredible stuff. You have countries that do not recognize officially Israel's right to exist, on camera, on stage, defending Israel's right to fight back, its right to have military strikes. How incredible is that to you when you heard that?
I agree with you. This is quite incredible. I think it's the first, an all-time first. You know, it's not the first time that Israelis and Arabs share the same room. Mm-hmm. After the Madrid conference in '91, there was such a thing as regional cooperation, but for peaceful purposes. This is the first time that Arabs and Israelis together stand, and America, of course, stand against Iran publicly, okay? Publicly and in a manner never seen and never heard before.
In your mind, I mean, it's well known, well documented, the under-the-surface ties between Israel and many of the Sunni Arab Gulf states. There's a lot of connection and there's a lot of under-the-radar diplomacy, but it's not official. Is that going to change soon? I mean, perhaps even in the next few weeks or months, could Israel have official new ties with one of those countries?
It could be, but I would be surprised. Especially it is here a time of election, so the Arab countries also will want to wait a little bit to see what comes after the election. And I do think that if you want to see these ties from beneath the radar come up, you have to have something on the Israeli-Palestinian front. Something. I don't say an agreement, okay?
Just something.
A negotiation, something, a gathering, yeah.
And on that point, Prime Minister Netanyahu stood next to the U.S. Vice President Mike Pence, and he talked about the upcoming Trump peace plan and his optimism about the details of it and wanted to hear more. Here's what Prime Minister Netanyahu had to say.
I look forward to receiving the plan, and we'll look at it once it's presented. I have to say that I know that the Trump administration seeks to ensure the security of Israel for generations. And even though I always say, based on the experience that we endured here, that Israel must always be able to defend itself by itself against any threat, it's comforting to know that we have such a strong ally in the United States of America.
Obviously, are the Palestinians backed into a corner here? I mean, they're going to have to listen to the Trump peace plan, even though Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas, the president, has said we're not going to. It's the slap of the century. We're not going to even listen to one word. Are they being backed into a corner?
Yeah, you know, first of all, they don't know what is in the plan. Nobody knows, and nobody knows if it is really a plan or a series of ideas to be discussed. I would not be surprised if you don't have a plan, okay? But then it will come after the Israeli election. It will not come before. And afterwards, it is very important what is in this plan for Netanyahu, if he forms the next government, to choose his political allies according to what is in the plan. And this is something which is an unknown by now, okay? We don't know if Netanyahu is going to win the election, but if he does, and the plan is revealed afterwards, he will have to choose his partner very carefully.
In your mind, this Warsaw conference, so many incredible pieces of video, so much incredible drama, was it a success for Israel? And if so, what made it successful?
An absolute success, I would say. The very fact that countries realize, those 60 countries present and maybe more, that it is not the Israeli-Palestinian conflict which is at the core of the Middle East situation, but the threat from Iran. And that Arab Sunni countries, there were about 8 of them there, spoke openly about that. This is a first. This is a strategical success for Israel, which I think has not yet been, you have not seen the end of it, okay? You have not seen the end of it. And as much as the Iranian today say a lot of things about that worthless conference, I am sure that in the heart of their heart, they must be very worried.